Selling your home, thinking about listing it with a real estate agent? Well, before you do, get top advice from our next guest that can help you sell your home for top dollar, hassle-free, in any location or condition for cash. That man is Lathe Lavada. He's a real estate investor, buyer, and broker for First Prime Realty Group. Great having you again.
Thank you.
So why would a seller choose to sell to an investor for cash, say, rather than going to a real estate agent for your typical sale?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. We just had one seller who had an elderly mother who was in the property, and she was suffering from dementia. So she didn't want folks coming in and out and showing the property. So she came to us to try to make the sale a lot smoother and easier, which it was. We ended up purchasing that home, and that allowed for no buyers to be coming in and out of the property. That's one scenario. Another scenario is these properties that need a lot of repairs on them. We just had a gentleman who, he needed to fix his roof, like the property you're currently seeing right now. It needed a lot of work, and these properties are the seller is unable to make the repairs, and then buyers are unable to get a loan on them because they'll have, like in this instance, it doesn't have carpet in the area, so it has bare floors, or the roof needs being replaced. So the buyers are unable or unwilling to purchase them. Getting a loan on these properties can't happen. So that's when coming to a cash buyer like myself becomes necessary, and that's really what happens.
The long and short of it. Now, let's talk about the act of moving is just like a pain. Sometimes there's unwanted stuff that we have inside the house, and the idea of having to schlep it, bring it to a dumpster, or give it away to somebody, it's too much. What do you do in a situation like that?
Well, a lot of our sellers will need money before the move. We just had a lady who needed to move into an assisted living facility, and so she was elderly, so she couldn't actually move the items out of the property herself. So we were able to close on that property, and she was able to leave everything she didn't want in the property, and we took care of it. Her family was out of state, and so
Awesome. So you don't have to worry about hiring a dumpster to come on by and just like chucking a bunch of stuff out. You take care of all that.
That's right. Either they can't or they don't want to because it's a stressful. It's stressful to move all this stuff that's accumulated over time, and like the houses you're seeing, sometimes there's just unfortunately some buildup of a lot of unwanted items that just needs to go.
Absolutely. So what should a buyer or a seller rather know before they sign into a purchase agreement with a cash buyer like yourself?
Well, if they go under agreement with a cash buyer like myself, we just had a gentleman that came to us, and that transaction fell through just a couple days prior to closing. And then they came to us, and we were able to purchase the property in 3 days, which was great for them. But the problem was that investor, it was a national buyer, and this particular national buyer did not do an inspection on the property prior to going under agreement to purchase it. This is very problematic because now you get to closing, they do their final walkthrough to close, and they find out, oh, wait a minute, there's more wrong with this property than I thought.
Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, now I can't close, or I'm going to try to get a reduction on the purchase. We do a pre-offer inspection or evaluation on the home before we sign any purchase agreement. That's very important. And I actually purchase these homes with my own funds. And so when I say I'm going to buy a property, I actually do. Some of these other buyers are using other folks' funds to close on, or they've got to go through an underwriting process. And then when you get to the end of the transaction, then it becomes problematic and it puts the seller in a very, very bad position.
Of course. So when you put pen to paper, you know exactly how much the home's going to be sold for, and you know that there's going to be no last-second surprises.
That's exactly right. We actually put in the purchase agreement exactly what the seller is going to net. We also pay all the seller and buyer ordinary closing costs.
That's big, because when you think of your typical sale, you have to pay 3% to the buying agent, 3% to the selling agent. You're looking at 6% of your money goes away. You don't have to worry about that with you.
Well, that's right. There is no real estate commissions on the homes I buy because I'm buying them. There's no real estate agent involved.
Gotcha.
So there's none of those fees. So that puts the extra money in the seller's pocket. It also simplifies the transaction so that now the seller doesn't have to think about all these little nitnoid items, idiosyncrasies. They just see a net. Here is the net I'm going to get when I close the transaction.
And you have a third party come in to make sure everything's on the up and up, so both parties are happy.
That's exactly right. Every transaction, every home we purchase goes through a third-party title and closing company so that they're insured their cash profits. But on the other side of it, I'm insured a clear title. I don't want to be closing on a property that I don't know about some outstanding lien. We had one instance where a seller had a $20,000
HOA lien?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And so they didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Well, they probably knew about it or
yeah.
forgot about it or just didn't get the notice. Not sure what, but we found out about it and we had to go back and have a conversation about what we could buy the property for.
Gotcha.
Because, and then there was a deferred loan as well on one of those properties with a lender. And so we were able to close both of those transactions.
You just had to tie up the loose ends.
Exactly, exactly. But don't close a property if you don't go through a third-party title and closing company. Don't do a kitchen top table closing and transfer the property. The odds are if you're signing a quick claim deed, you're just transferring the property to that owner outside of escrow. So it's okay to sign a purchase agreement. That's a different thing. Those are the terms that are followed to close the transaction.
But the title company makes sure both parties are happy at the end.
Right, and the terms of the purchase agreement are being followed. Very important to do.
Lathe, great having you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, if you want to sell your home for cash, go to Lathe Lavada. Call the number 702-476-2000. You're going to get a guaranteed, quick and easy, no obligation cash offer. First Prime Realty Group, they're a proud sponsor of the Morning Blend.